SpaceX is developing plans for a new kind of orbital outpost, the Gravity Starship Station. Unlike the ISS, this station could use controlled rotation to generate real artificial gravity, allowing astronauts to live and work almost as they do on Earth. It's a bold, technically grounded step toward permanent human presence in orbit, and it might be closer than most realize. Let's dive right in. When Elon Musk talks about making life multiplanetary, most people think of Mars. But inside SpaceX, the real story might begin much closer to Earth. Behind every Starship prototype, there's a bigger plan, one that could change how humans live in space forever. Internal studies and quiet comments from SpaceX engineers hint at a bold concept: turning Starship itself into a rotating orbital habitat, a structure that generates real artificial gravity. This isn't fantasy. It's the answer to one of space exploration's biggest unsolved problems: how to keep humans healthy and functional during long-term missions. For decades, astronauts on the ISS have faced muscle loss, bone degradation, and severe disorientation from zero gravity. Billions have been spent trying to offset those effects with exercise and medication, but no permanent fix exists. And that's why the Tethered Starship concept is catching serious attention. It offers a simple physics-based solution: spin to create gravity. So, is SpaceX really preparing to build the first human habitat that mimics gravity in orbit? The evidence says yes, and what's more, it may already be technically feasible. To understand the logic behind it, we have to start with the hardware. Starship is massive, roughly 50 to 61 meters tall, with an internal volume of nearly 3,800 cubic meters. That's about 4 times the interior of an Airbus A380. Now imagine 2 of these ships, docked nose to nose and connected by a high-strength tether stretching hundreds of meters. When rotated slowly around their shared center of mass, centrifugal force pushes outward, creating a gradient of artificial gravity along the inner decks. At around 3 to 4 rotations per minute, astronauts could experience roughly 0.3 g, about the gravity level on Mars. Increase the radius, and you can approach Earth-like gravity while keeping rotation gentle enough to avoid motion sickness. This isn't a wild theory. Physicists have studied the dynamics for decades. From Tsiolkovsky's early space station sketches in the 19th century to NASA's unpublished studies from the 1970s. What's new is that SpaceX finally has the technology, scale, and cost to make it practical. A Starship launch might soon cost under $10 million, cheaper than a single ISS resupply mission. That means for the first time in history, humanity could build a functional artificial gravity station without needing hundreds of launches or decades of funding. And this is where things start to get truly revolutionary. Traditional stations like the ISS are modular but rigid, a patchwork of aluminum sections that must be assembled piece by piece in orbit. Each addition takes years of planning and billions in budget. Starship breaks that model. It's self-contained, reusable, and massively spacious. A single Starship could offer more living space than the entire US segment of the ISS. By connecting 2 or more of them through tethered rotation, SpaceX could bypass the need for complex construction, turning launch vehicles themselves into living environments. If a ship's system fails, it doesn't end the mission. SpaceX can simply bring it back, repair it on Earth, and relaunch it. No other space agency has ever had that flexibility. And that's why experts call it the most modular, repairable, and scalable station concept ever proposed. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Far from it. Every inch of this idea pushes the limits of engineering. Building a tethered gravity station isn't just a question of design. It's a war against physics. 3 major challenges could make or break the entire concept. First, synchronization. 2 massive starships must spin with perfect timing. A microsecond delay between them could snap the tether, destabilizing both ships and sending debris flying through orbit. Second, structural stress. SpaceX's stainless steel, the same alloy that handles 1,500 degrees Celsius re-entry, must also endure constant rotational strain for months. Engineers will need dampening systems and precise load balancing to prevent destructive vibration cycles. Third, docking and resupply. A spinning system means the docking port is constantly moving. To safely attach new ships or cargo, SpaceX will likely build a non-rotating central hub, an anchor where visiting vehicles can connect while the outer ring continues spinning. This fixed-axis docking core may sound futuristic, but it's already being studied by SpaceX's structural teams and independent analysts. Some even believe early prototypes could appear as soon as the late 2020s, built using modified Starship VD4 frames. If that's true, we're standing on the edge of a completely new type of orbital architecture, one that fuses physics, engineering, and practicality like never before. Then comes the economics. And this is where the idea turns from crazy to inevitable. The ISS cost over $150 billion to build and maintain. A full tethered Starship station could be deployed for less than $200 million total, including launches. Think about that for a second. For the cost of one modern skyscraper, SpaceX could build an entire artificial gravity space city. And because each Starship is reusable, the structure could expand over time. One launch adds another room, another layer, another opportunity for research or habitation. Even more importantly, it gives SpaceX something NASA never had: complete autonomy, no dependence on international partners, no political gridlock, a fully private orbital outpost. That changes everything, from how science is done to who owns orbital real estate. If SpaceX truly pulls this off, it won't just build the first rotating space station, it could become the first corporate civilization in orbit. But beyond the numbers and designs lies the reason this matters: humans. Living in zero gravity has taken a huge toll on astronauts. They lose up to 20% of muscle mass during long missions. Their bones weaken, blood pools in the head, vision blurs, and organs shift. Artificial gravity could erase all of that. It would let astronauts walk, run, eat, and sleep in a way that feels natural. It restores the basic rhythm of life: day-night movement, rest, the things our biology depends on. And it's not just comfort, it's survival. If we ever hope to reach Mars, build lunar colonies, or travel beyond, artificial gravity isn't optional. It's essential. The Tethered Starship station could be the testing ground for that future, training human bodies for deep space life under realistic conditions. In other words, this isn't just an experiment in physics, it's an experiment in human evolution. Here's the twist most people overlook. If SpaceX succeeds in building an artificial gravity station, who owns it? A structure in low Earth orbit doesn't belong to any country, yet it's technically within international space law. So does SpaceX become the world's first private space state? NASA might cooperate, governments might regulate, but no one can deny that this project would shift the balance of power in space forever. That's why this isn't just about science, it's about influence. If Starship becomes the foundation of orbital life, every future mission, from lunar mining to Mars colonization, could depend on SpaceX infrastructure. In that sense, the Tethered Starship station isn't just an engineering feat, it's a strategic beachhead for humanity's expansion. And SpaceX will hold the keys. By 2028, when Starship 5-4 is expected to fly, the vehicle's increased height and optimized tank layout could unlock over 1,000 cubic meters of habitable space per unit. Combine 10 of them into a tethered configuration, and you get an orbital complex 3 times larger than the ISS, with real gravity, full autonomy, and the ability to evolve like a living organism. Every successful Starship test flight brings that reality closer. Every booster reuse makes it cheaper. And every spin experiment, even a small one, will tell us if this concept can finally bridge the gap between dreams and reality. If it works, the next generation of astronauts won't float through metal corridors. They'll walk, train, and live in gravity-built homes orbiting above us. That's when the line between spacecraft and civilization begins to blur. And this is exactly why SpaceX's Tethered Starship station could become one of the most important steps in human space history. It's not just about creating gravity in orbit. It's about creating a future where people can truly live and work beyond Earth. What this means is that we're entering an era where technology and life will finally merge in space, and SpaceX is leading that shift right now. The next few years will tell whether this concept becomes humanity's first real home in orbit or just another unrealized dream. So what do you think? Could this change how we build the future of space habitats? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, give it a like, share your thoughts, and subscribe to Space Hub for more deep, fact-based insights into the breakthroughs shaping our journey beyond Earth. Don't forget to turn on notifications, because the next revolution in space might launch sooner than you think.